It's just not the same without Phelan here.
I think you mean it's just not the same.
It's true.
We just
My
got
mistake.
Nutty.
I like that it's the completely the opposite fucking weather than when we saw the first movie.
Oh man, we were just turning into icicles when we saw it. But that was in January, and then they realized we are sitting on a gold mine.
This is summer material.
Any movie that ends with "Let's get nutty."
Mm-hmm. No, let's get nuts.
Okay, yeah, that's "Let's get nuts." Nutty by nature, which topical.
Oh, nothing about this movie.
Nut Job 2, Nutty by nature.
You know what? Here's the thing about this movie. Other than we were icicles during the first one and now we're melting. This movie's best friend is the fact that it's the first kids movie after the Emoji Movie.
You know, yeah. Yeah.
That movie that I think there's still maybe a few people online who think you fled to Canada because it came out. You didn't see it. Like, when Dave and I reviewed the Emoji Movie, I said a passing joke and they're like, Allison's in Canada. I thought there was something fishy about that trip.
Well, that's the truth. I was like, Phelan, I'm calling in a favor. I need to get out of the country for a while.
Guess you can hang out with me for a while.
But you know what? I was looking forward to Nut Job 2 for the last 2 years.
Same, because they announced this movie like 2 years. They did announce this like not long after the first one came out, which was 3 years ago.
You know, this is kind of exactly what I expected out of Nut Job 2. I don't think it was either better or worse than the first Nut Job. They were both mediocre movies with nut puns.
We've seen a lot worse kids movies the past few years. I mean, seriously, like just last week, like this movie's not very good. I maybe only laughed a few times in this, but when I was a week or two ago, I was at the Emoji Movie, and at least with this one, I was sitting there like, okay, at least this movie has a soul. Like, at least this movie, like, they're trying to throw some jokes in here. Yeah. They're trying to have, like, a plot that will maybe give some kind of lesson, sort of. Like, the animation's actually pretty good, surprisingly.
Yeah, the animation wasn't bad.
Yeah, and like they're actually taking advantage of the 3D effects in it. They're doing a lot of different 3D things. I'm like, yeah, this movie is real. Its best friend is the fact that it's the first kids movie I've seen after him, the Emoji Movie.
There is a point in this movie where they're eating some nuts.
Oh,
and one of them is old and dusty.
One of the nuts is.
Yeah, one of the nuts. And then one of the characters eats it and goes, delicious. And Surly Squirrel goes, you mean dust-delicious? And that's about the level of puns you're working with here.
It is.
That was the line of the movie, dust-licious.
It somehow made that work, because there was a lot of fucking shit puns in the Emoji Movie. In this one, what made me laugh about that was picturing Will Arnett in a recording studio saying, ugh, more like dustlicious.
That's the best part about these movies, is that, like, the puns are so bad and so forced, the plots are so forced, and it's so middle of the road that it turns around into being like a good time. Because like the last one, we were the only ones in the theater.
We were some things never change.
We were able to just do puns over this. Man.
From beginning to end of this movie. And the movie is, their nut house gets destroyed at the beginning of this, so they have to go back to the park, but then the park gets destroyed by the evil mayor from the Toxic Avenger, who wants to build a theme park.
He's like somehow a poacher as well, because there's like elephant tusks around his desk. He's super rich, and it's like, it can't be from the mayor money. I don't know how much they think mayors are paid, but they're not kings.
His daughter up and admits she likes torturing small animals. She's
like a little garbage pail kid is what she is.
Yeah, she really is. And the movie, it has an opening scene where they're, bless you,
excuse me,
where they're swimming around in their nut barrels and everything, and it's playing this song like, oh yeah, nuts, oh yeah. And then like later, Surly is playing chicken with a bulldozer coming right at him. He gets inside of it, starts fucking with the wiring, and it's playing Born to Be Wild by Steppenwolf. This movie's in the 1950s, by the way, like the first one, and never... There's no reason for that. Because I don't have a problem with this movie being set in the 50s, so long as the movie is aware that it's taking place in the 50s.
Well, at least with the first one, it felt like it was purposeful. They had the like mob plot going on, and like they didn't utilize the 50s that well.
No, I mean they played Gangnam Style in the first
Gangnam
one.
Style, but it felt like there was a reason story-wise, like, that they decided to do that. I don't think they executed it that great, but, I mean, I understood why they're like, all right, so there's a nut factory and there's a mob plot going in the 50s. But in this one, I mean, the time period did not matter at all, and for the most part didn't factor into it. It's just people dressed old-fashioned, and occasionally you'd be like, oh yeah, I guess this is the 50s.
Like the theme park is very... looks like a 50s theme park. Like the cars going around are 50s, but all the characters are... they're dropping modern slang left and right. It's got a soundtrack.
It's called Nutty by Nature.
Yeah,
Nothing about this is the correct time period.
It ends by saying, let's get nuts. He keeps flashing up a thing on there saying poor connection, so I hope this is coming through okay. It was doing that when Irving and I were reviewing that shark movie a month or two ago, but it seemed to have fixed itself in the rendering. Okay, I guess it's all right. Good. So we can give you all continue to give you all the details about this film. And the thing with this movie is, I do really like Surly Squirrel as a character.
Once again, it's them being idiots, and he's treated like he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Because there are parts of it where it's like, okay, he does need to like step up because it's getting people hurt or whatever. But when it starts. The girl squirrel, I don't remember her name now. She's mad because they're all eating the free nuts at the nut factory, and they should be scrounging for them. And she's acting like it's a bad thing because it's unnatural for them to live off of nuts. She's like, shut up!
I feel like with that, I was sort of like, I can see what they're trying to say here. It feels like a good angle to go with this is that there should be like a compromise, because it's like, yeah, it's great now they won't starve. They have this business where there's all these nuts in the basement and they can eat that, but it is turning them fat and lazy, and they're not doing it. So even by the end, I kind of felt like that sort of was the compromise, because she lets Surly go and attack the nut stand like he did at the beginning of the first movie. Like, I like him as it feels like whoever came up with the concept of this, especially given how this is in the 50s and with a character like Surly Squirrel, it does seem like this is created by somebody who probably grew up watching Looney Tunes and Bugs Bunny and all of that, but is doing this movie where I don't know if this is the case, but it does seem like it screams of like, okay, you need to throw modern references in here. You need to throw Gangnam Style. You need to throw all of this shit that has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that this is taking place in the 1950s.
It's like it's producers saying that you need to do that on the American side, and then it was a co-production with a Korean company.
The first one was, I think that's why it had Psy in it.
Yeah, like I don't know if it's that same company with this one, but if it is, that's the reason they have Jackie Chan shoved in there. So you have this weird plot about like these kung fu mice that's only in like a minute somewhere in there, and then near the end comes full circle, but you could tell like they didn't have them for very long.
It also felt like it was really trying to ape off of
Secret Life of Pets.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
It was exactly Secret
the rabbits
Life of
from that,
yeah.
which ironically, this movie's a way more original film than Secret Life of Pets is.
I would rather watch this again than Secret Life of Pets.
I so would. Like, this actually did get a few genuine laughs out of me. Will Arnett, even in...
I laughed when they go in the dark alley and there's the creepy doll there.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
The creepy doll in the alley. I laughed when the girl squirrel started singing, and he stopped her, and what are you doing? Since when do we just spontaneously start singing?
But, it just felt natural. Oh, no, you're really not very good singer.
Not a good singer. That was just really awkward. I like jokes like that.
Why don't you sing a song about it?
I like jokes like that, where it's like a character thinks it's a musical.
Well, he's able to deliver those lines really good, too.
He is.
And he sells the jokes. Even Dustlicious.
Ugh, more like Dustlicious.
If it wasn't Will Arnett, I don't know if it would work as well as it
does. I agree. I laughed at that. A couple of the puns I did. A thing about this movie, though, is that this movie feels like it goes on forever. Like,
the ending kind of goes on a long time.
Holy crap! Like, when it's all of the animals destroying the amusement park, it reaches a point where I thought, like, okay, this has got to be about over with. And then the girl squirrel gets captured, and then he has to go find the mice again, which leads to a flashback showing the mice origin story. I'm like,
they go, and they had the origin story of, like, him and his friend Buddy, too.
Yeah.
They throw in there, like, because we needed to see their origin.
This movie has a scene where Buddy falls from a rooftop through, like, an awning and is lying seemingly dead on the concrete. He's in a coma.
That's the classic nut job.
Holy shit.
Almost dead varmint.
It was like that. It's instantly reminded of that Dingo Hunchback movie where the guy fell to his death at the end of it. So that happened,
Dead.
and he's in a coma and is brought back by dog saliva. The dog, I think, was less annoying in this than in the first one. I seem to recall the dog being really annoying in the first one. Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
The dog was annoying. She was less annoying here, but the voice is still really not a good choice for that character design.
It's really not. It's really not, because it took me until that. It's been 3 years since I saw the first one. So it wasn't until the dog got captured that I forgot that dog was even supposed to be a girl dog.
Yeah.
At first, but at the end, and once the mice come into it after this flashback, and they go back to the amusement park getting destroyed and the animals taking over it again, like. I was like, this is going on forever. Like, it does. It goes from, like, it feels like it's a half hour, this part getting destroyed with these roller coaster action sequences and the Ferris wheel on fire. Even in that, I was getting laughs out of the fact that some of these animals have names and some don't.
They were like, oh, they've captured the groundhogs and Mole and Buddy. And like, what? Even the one with a name, he's just the Buddy.
He's just a Buddy. And Surly he's Surly, you know? Like, even in the first one, the villain's name was Raccoon.
Yeah, Raccoon. Stupid Raccoon.
Dumb Raccoon.
Yeah, I think the girl was the only one with a real name that wasn't just a descriptor.
Which is...
And I don't even remember what it was.
Because we don't remember what it was! It's easy to remember the others. Surly, Mole, the Chipmunks, Buddy...
Do you remember what happened to the asshole squirrel from the first one? There was, like, the gray squirrel. I think he was just named, like, Gray or something.
I don't even remember that.
He was, like, a rival squirrel to Surly.
Okay. I mean, we were talking about it earlier, and I was saying, like, I was trying to remember specifics about the first one, other than, like, the jokes we were coming up with while watching the first movie. And I remembered the basic plot. I remembered, like... Everyone kept treating Surly like he was a dick, except he really wasn't. He was kind of right.
You share the nuts with everyone else.
Yeah.
Not his fucking problem. You guys are idiots.
It was all kind of coming back to me a little bit, but honestly, this is a movie where, look, if you just watch the trailer for the first one and then just go into this one, you'll be good.
All of the side characters were useless.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they had the running gag where he just kept saying, we're all gonna die. And apparently they were working with the rule of 30 there. Like, they just kept going and saying that same line over and over again with no, like, twist on it when he would say it again.
Yeah, they should have stopped after he popped up from the background behind the bush to say it, because that kind of got a laugh out of me. But I think
that was the third time, and that's the rule of 3. And then I was like, oh, okay, there's the last payoff.
No.
But then he just kept doing it. Rule of 30. Yeah.
Yes. Of the animated kids movies that are playing in theaters now, yes, dear God, it's better than the Emoji Movie. There's actual effort in this. They're trying to write jokes. Really, only a few of them land, but at least it's got Will Arnett in it. This is more memorable than Despicable Me 3. It feels less cynical. It feels less manufactured than...
It feels like a movie that knows what it is. It's
it
kind of middle of the road.
Yeah.
You might have a good time and then forget it. Like, it's kind of endearingly lame.
Yeah, which so was the first one. Like,
so many people died, by the way, in that theme.
Oh,
explosions
fuck.
everywhere. There's Ferris wheels rolling over guys in suits. You're like, I mean, so many people are dead.
Oh, even in the car accidents that Surly is causing through this movie.
Even from the beginning, when they blow up the nut shop, I'm like, there's buildings next to that. Are people burning alive right now?
Explain why that blew up?
Because the stupid fucking mole left the furnace on.
Oh, okay.
Because, you know, as you do.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, this seems like the kind of movie where it just would have spontaneously blown up for no reason.
I love that the whole point of the first movie was to get into that nut shop.
Yeah.
And then that was the nut job.
Yeah.
The beginning of this movie, gone.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, well, now back to saving the park from the evil mayor.
Exactly. Now let's just do Over the Hedge with squirrels. You know, it's a rental. Sure. Look, if you got kids, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's totally forgettable. There's no reason for it to exist, but it at least has a soul to it. It at least...
Someone said Cannibal Nutty.
It's about as zany as Cannibal Holocaust 2. It's a rental. Look, if you have some kids and your choices are this, Despicable Me 3 or Emoji, then yeah, this movie. But I take it. It doesn't even need to be those three choices. Take them to Spider-Man or something.
My final word on it is, it was dustlicious.
It gave me dustlicious. I am going to be waiting so hard for the next time for Laura to say this is delicious. I'm going to be waiting for it. Just waiting, even if it takes me years. I wouldn't even know what the context is by the time I get to it. I think it was from some movie Allison and I saw 30 years ago. All right, I've actually got to run in there real quick. Like, Annabelle Creation is starting, so meet us back here in like 2 hours for Annabelle Creation. No, see ya.